snap, we're back with another Marvel Snap video. As today we got a bit of a different type of video, as I thought on Sundays I could do something different and quite a bit of an earlier upload as well. Because as you guys know, every Sunday we get a new hot location, so I thought I could provide you guys with a Pool 1 and a Pool 2 deck that I've crafted that you can use to capitalize on this specific location. And if I upload this earlier, you guys can have access to it earlier. So shorter video, but let me know what you guys think about this idea. I thought it'd be neat, and you know, I need to start diversifying my content a little bit with this game. Like, it's not exactly the same as other games I've covered in the past, so I want to adapt to it a little bit better. So yeah, let me know if you guys like this idea, as when it comes to the Pool 3 deck, I'm gonna work on that on stream, and hopefully I'll have something for you guys tomorrow. So let's talk about the two decks, but first of all, let's talk about the location, actually, in case you guys don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself here. We got Death Domain. What hot location means is that 60% of the games will feature this location. It's much more impactful than when we have a featured location, which is when they create a new location to release it, because that is 40% of the games. 60% is a very big deal. More than half of the matches you queue up into will feature Death's Domain, so designing a deck that can thrive with it is quite important, and that's what we're going to try to do today. What can survive in Death's Domain? Death's Domain says when you play a card here, destroy it. Bit of a tricky one, right? You can't really just play anything into it because it'll die. So let's try to design decks that can actually benefit from such a hostile environment. So first of all, the Pool 1 deck that I got for you guys is essentially a different take on the Devil Dinosaur Moon Girl strategy that is adapting. That's what I love about Marvel Snap, by the way. Like even net decking itself, you have to be flexible, right? Because with the featured locations and the hot locations, you gotta switch things up a little bit, and that keeps things fresh for me. I don't know, but yeah, this is a take on the Devil Dinosaur Moon Girl deck. I think it's one of, if not the most powerful Pool 1 deck you can play with. And I've adapted it to this. How have we adapted with this? First of all, you guys can see we're playing Klaw instead of Iron Man. The reason why I like Klaw is because with Klaw and the ongoing effect, we can actually reach the Death's Domain, provided with 6 power potentially, without having to actually play into it. And that's already a pretty solid option to go for. I don't think we have to like completely redesign the deck to adapt well to this location. There's just a few things that we can do that can actually really make our game plan shine, right? Nova is a card that we're playing. Nova can actually be dropped onto the Death's Domain, have it die, and then boost all of our other locations by 1 power. But I got a pretty spicy tech that I really like for this location specifically, and a 1-drop that I'm particularly a very big fan of, and that is Iron Fist. This is where things get really spicy. Iron Fist, on reveal, move the next card you play 1 location to the left after it reveals. If Death Domain pops up on the right, not very useful, right? At least to get into the Death Domain. But if it pops in the center or the left, Iron Fist will allow us to follow up with whatever the play we play after will be kicked to the left, and that way we can actually get something into Death's Domain without actually playing into it, which means it will not be destroyed. That already works really well with Klaw, because if the opponent is also having a difficult time playing into Death's Domain, especially in Pool 1, it can be more tricky. You can actually play Iron Fist on turn 4, then turn 5 Klaw on, like, for example, let's say the middle. If Death's Domain is on the left, he gets kicked into the left, and then Klaw has 4 power in Death's Domain, but it's still giving you 6 power on the right, which is going to be a more contested location. So I really like that combo. Obviously, I love Nightcrawler, not only because we're playing Angela, but more so because we can actually move him into Death's Domain without having to play him there, which is also pretty relevant. And of course, Scarlet Witch. Scarlet Witch is another way you can actually bamboozle your opponent into a win. You can preserve her for turn 6 and play her alongside a 4-drop, like for example White Queen, and just develop her into Death's Domain, change the location so that nothing else will be destroyed, and it can allow you to take the location by surprise at the very end. It's also a very nice option to go for. And yeah, the rest of the deck is pretty much the same as it was before. We got Cable, we got Angela, phenomenal 2-drop. We got Sentinels to give us fuel to keep, you know, developing, and can curve out well with your 1-drops on turn 3, etc. And of course, we got Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl, as we're going to be copying Devil Dinosaur and potentially potentially making 2 copies of him, and we can play Devil Dinosaur. We can potentially then on turn 6 play Iron Fist into the second Devil Dinosaur and have him sneak into the Death's Domain. There's a lot of spicy plays this deck can do, and it just feels really damn solid and just as strong as the Devil Dinosaur deck that I've showcased before, but more adaptive for this environment. So hopefully you guys enjoy this if you are in Pool 1, right? So that's that. Let's move on to a deck that I have for Pool 2, which I really didn't know what to call this. Like, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit embarrassed about this this terrible deck name. I tried, okay? So this is a deck that's using up to Pool 2 of the collection, and it's a take on like Destroy. But keep in mind that we don't have access to stuff like Deadpool, we don't have access to Venom, we don't have access to Death, etc, etc. So because we're more limited, we're not going all in with Destroy synergy, and in fact, we're doing quite a few things that can be really strong here. First of all, we got the Storm Jessica Jones combo, which I really like. Storm can be used to get rid of Death's Domain if it's becoming problematic because of your hand, and you can then follow it up with Jessica Jones onto it, and you know, pretty much take it, right? Because you're representing 10 power in 2 turns, and a lot of times the Death's Domain is a very safe location to go Storm into because you won't expect your opponent to, you know, follow up your turn 3 play with a turn 3 play onto the same location of their own because of it is such a hostile one, right? So that is something that we can go for, but we have a lot of synergies, that a lot of self-destroy effects that can benefit from the location. For example, we're playing Bucky Barnes. We're playing the Bucky Barnes Carnage package with Nova, and we're also playing Angel, because something that you can do is you can play turn 2 Bucky Barnes into Death's Domain. Bucky Barnes dies, and then the Winter Soldier comes out, and then Angel will pop out of your deck, and all of a sudden you got 8 points there. You can leave that location alone, and then on turn 5 you can Professor X it, because when you play Professor X, you lock down the location, so Death's Domain's effect is nullified because cards cannot be destroyed. It's what it implies by saying they cannot be removed. So because cards cannot be destroyed, a Professor X can just seal that location, and if your opponent has some spicy plan for the last turn, you can just nullify that as well. I really like Vision in this kind of deck too, because you can move into Death's Domain potentially if it's not being too contested or the opponent doesn't synergize well with it. You can, you know, play outside of it and then move into it if you need to. As I also like Sabretooth. We're playing Wolverine. I'm speaking really fast. We're playing Wolverine and Sabretooth because Wolverine is a good way to try to get into Death's Domain by just having respawn after he dies, right? Because he will never truly go away, and he is Wolverine after all. And with a 32% chance, you can respawn at Death's Domain and claim it. But what I really like about Sabretooth is that we can play him onto Death's Domain, potentially on curve on turn 3. He dies, then returns to our hand as 0 cost, which means we can keep him in our hand. And all of a sudden, on turn 6, we can develop something like a Hulk plus a free Sabretooth that we can more effectively allocate, because at that point of the match, we know where we need the points. And that's a very, very nice thing to have. Also synergizes with Carnage naturally, as we can just chow down on him and do that. We can chow down on him and then have him as 0 energy, and having that ability to be flexible with him is really neat. I'm also playing the Iron Fist combo here. It also works really nicely in this deck. Potentially has a lot of potential good combos. Even with a big unit like Hulk, we can get him into Death's Domain if we need to do that. But we could also use the Iron Fist to get into a location that we flooded with Storm as well. If our opponent has managed to overcome us, or if we have other priorities, we can be like, okay, later we'll get into the flooded location with our Iron Fist, you know, by pushing something to the left into it. So ideally, you want to storm locations that are either in the center or the left of the board because of the specific deck. And I felt like Angel will provide a lot, because with Death's Domain, Angel's extremely easy to trigger and just makes him a free 2 power that you just get from your deck that also thins your deck, which is really, really neat. I think you can really shine in this sort of environment. And yeah, you got a lot of strong early game plays and great ways to solidify the game in the later turns. And I felt like this would be a very nice, solid Pool 2 option to go for this specific environment. And that's basically it. Thank you guys for watching. I kept it under 10 minutes. No gameplay today because I'm in a big hurry, because I gotta stream in like 20 minutes. So yeah. But hopefully you guys found this video useful, and let me know if you want to see more content like this on Sundays, in which I give you guys some deck lists. And tomorrow we'll be at it with a Pool 3 deck that hopefully shines with this feature, or this hot location rather. Yeah, love ya. So thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for daily Marvel Snap content. Hope you enjoy the decks. I'll see you guys tomorrow.